All right, good evening, everyone. It's 7:30. The public has been duly informed of this meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by posting at least 48 hours in advance a notice on the bulletin boards in Stevenson and Churchill School, a notice to the Township Clerk, and a notice to the Herald and the Progress News. Now, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to switch things up just a little bit this evening. I'm going to start with the President's report. I just have a couple things to touch on. Number one, I want to thank all of our community members and school supporters that was able to attend the Tammy Janicelli fundraiser last week. It was a phenomenal event for a family that's been in town for quite some time. And it was just great to see so many parents there, so many Falcon players, so many people that are like really embedded in this community. And to know that the Hunting Association, and in particular, Chrissy Cifelli, did such an amazing job with everyone that was involved that helped her, because it wasn't just her, and she did point out everyone that was a big part of that, and unfortunately, we don't know every single name, but there was quite a few of them. But they did raise over $60,000 that went directly to Tammy, and that is absolutely amazing. The Janicelli family, their children came through Stevenson and Churchill, so it was good to see the community really rally. We're really excited about that, and it was nice to attend. Also, I heard our HSA has sold out for their Nashville night, which is wonderful, and we look forward to seeing some of you guys there as well. And last but not least, and I won't get into too much detail, but the talk of a much needed and long overdue referendum, information is getting closer and closer. And Joe will touch on that a little bit later when we discuss buildings and grounds and finance. But for those that have been asking, we are in full speed mode in regards to updating the schools, going through the processes, meeting with building and ground. And I think from this point on, I think the process is going to be quicker than people anticipate, because our administration has been working behind the scenes for the last 6 or 7 months to really identify the needs of the community and our district. So what each building needs particularly. When it comes to mechanical, the shortfalls that we have now and how can we address them, utilization of space. So we're extremely happy that we're all on board and full steam ahead. So Joe will touch a little bit more on that. Now I'd like to move over to our committee reports before we do our superintendent report. Is that okay? Angela?
Okay, just two very quick things. As Anthony mentioned, the HSA's Nashville night is sold out. If you are not following the HSA on social media, I would encourage you to do so you can stay informed. But there were just a few key points that they've recently shared I just wanted to share with you all. The first is that their 25-26 operating budget of $65,000 has this year funded enriching assemblies, offset field trip costs, supported 6th grade promotion and pre-K graduation, brought excitement through holiday parties and achievement celebrations, and purchased principal and staff wish list items. And over the last 5 years, this was a much bigger number than I expected, they have given over $450,000 back to the students. So thank you very much to the HSA. We look forward to raising more money at Nashville Nights for the kids. And just a quick personnel update. This is my monthly advertisement that the district is searching for aides. If you or anyone you know is interested, I would encourage you to apply. It's a wonderful place to work with wonderful students, and I'm sure Mr. Gupta would love to talk to you.
Absolutely. Linda?
Sure. I have one quick announcement from our CPAC committee, which is our Special Ed Parent Advisory Committee. They are hosting a Scoops and Stories at the library on June 11th. It starts at 6:30, and Heather Prindo, our teacher here in our district, who is also a published author, will be reading her book. So if you can come out, it's June 11th at 6:30. It's going to be a great night. The kids can wear their PJs and enjoy bedtime story. So just put that on your calendar.
Thank you, Melinda. Mr. Keating?
Yeah, okay, I will do finance and buildings and grounds at once. It's just, when we basically meet at the same time. From a high level, finance committee met on the budget presentation. Wally's gonna go through that in a lot of detail. We've had 2 strong years of our financial process, aiming for a third based on the budget we have here. The healthcare costs and the strap on the 2% cap is an issue. We've gotten a little lucky in certain circumstances where we have additional raises that Wally will go over for next year's budget. But we've done a really good job here to be efficient and to spend money where necessary, not overspend anything on any budget line item. So, nice job, Wally, nice job, Ryan. Buildings and grounds, feels like we meet once a week, which is, it's getting taxing, I will say, but we've done a lot. We've done a lot, we're gonna do a lot more. This summer we got another PSE&G direct install program for Churchill. We did that for Stevenson last year. And then we got another grant this year for the playground at Churchill where we did Stevenson last year. So that'll happen this summer. Very excited for that because those need a facelift big time. We also we're about to put a bid out for painting of Churchill School, the entire interior. That'll happen this summer as well. And on page 9 of the agenda, you'll see that there were 8 architects that proposed bids for the referendum that Anthony mentioned earlier. Wally and Ryan went through them extensively. They had checklists. They really did their due diligence. We then interviewed as a group, the Buildings and Grounds Committee, Lime Associates and Solutions Architecture. After that interview, we have decided to go with Solutions Architecture. The presentation and just the organization and their process and what their plans are. I mean, I was ready to just sign up right there. It was really impressive, and he'll be in here. The owner of that architecture firm will be in here. He also does other work in the town, so he's from Fairfield originally, which I'm sure he'll go into that whole spiel. Great firm, and really looking forward to that. I think I'll just finish up by saying that this district has done a lot the last 3 years. We joke around a little bit, but we really are excited to do a lot more. We couldn't do any of this without the parent support, the teachers, the community, even obviously members of the FEF, the HSA, town council members that have always been there to support us the last 3 years with, two ballot questions and anything we need. Anybody's always there to just really cheer on Wally and Ryan down there as they try to make this better. A year and a half from now, and from now for the next year and a half, we're going to need even more support. And I'm sorry to ask you for that again, but we're going to continue to ask for that because we need it. But I think even if some of your kids don't get the support, get the benefits of this, which some of yours will, some won't. My 2 younger ones just might if we pass this. 30 years from now, when you're picking up your grandkids in that nice little loop in the back of Churchill, you're going to be like, wow, we did all of this here. And it's still relevant. So we appreciate it, and that's it. That's all I got.
Well, thank you, Joe. And Joe wasn't joking when he said Buildings and Grounds meets often, and it's mostly because for many, many years, the school district has had a tough time keeping up with the many challenges that it takes to really update and upgrade our systems. And now with Wally here, we're really in a good place, in particular with the whole process with the engineering firm. I don't think we can give Wally enough credit for literally dissecting every single application that came in, organizing it for us, checks and balances, why some are stronger than others. So when we did go into that meeting, and it was about 2.5 hours, even with that meeting being 2.5 hours and narrowing it down to 2, and then meeting with those 2 for approximately 2.5 hours, it made our lives so much easier. So for that, we're greatly appreciative, Wally. So thank you very much. A couple of people did ask me about painting. We did have a painting bid go out, and we did have a low bidder, actually a local guy, which is great. And the reason why we didn't proceed is because after speaking with the board and being excited about the new principal at Churchill, we figured to give all of Churchill a facelift. So when we say all of Churchill, because we do spend a lot of time there, fortunately, but unfortunately, it's not very appealing to the eye. So we kind of leaned on a couple of local vendors that could steer us in the right direction on how to go about sprucing up the interior walls, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to be painting, if I'm not mistaken, everything, every hallway. We are painting the tile from half of the wall down, our doors, our jams, and if I'm not mistaken, a separate bid for classrooms. So, we want our kids to go in next year into Churchill with a new principal and a facelift and really be excited about being there, the way that we are when we walk in Stevenson. Because Stevenson is bright and it's a pleasure to be in, and unfortunately sometimes, we don't get that feeling over at Churchill. The fields Joe touched on, we can't wait for Churchill to look like the back of Stevenson. I'm fortunate, I have a 10-year-old, I play softball at Stevenson, but so many kids play on the playground that our recreation grant was able to help provide for. So we're really looking forward to that at Churchill, so we're very excited about that. Buildings and grounds, and we go over this a lot, has done a lot. We've done all exterior lighting throughout every school for no cost to the district. We've recently put money in our field so that our kids can take advantage of that. We've replaced, not so much buildings and grounds with this board, our business administrator, our superintendent. Wally tackled an interior lighting project for us that was granted by, subsidized by PSE&G. But I think out of everything Joe said, I think what resonates the most is we are really gonna need your help moving forward, especially the next year and a half. And it wasn't, 18 months wasn't a guess. He's a pretty calculated guy sitting next to me. And it's because it's the next 18 months that are extremely critical, right? To get out there and see what the district needs and get the community involved and really buy into, a better Fairfield School District. So we're extremely excited about that. With that being said, we have 3 special guests here, Kristen, Ashley, and Cindy, who before we go over to our board, Kristen.
Another Kristen.
Oh, she's Kristen, I didn't get past the first row. I'm sorry. You guys gave my secret away. I always look at the first row and never into that. But welcome, and everything we're gonna discuss tonight, I think this is probably the most exciting and the most rewarding. So ladies, if you would, and Mr. Gupta, please, proceed with our presentations.
You guys wanna come on up?
Yeah?
Yeah, that can turn on.
Podium over there in the corner.
Find that way?
So while we're doing this, I'm apologizing if you guys have ever come to a board meeting before. It does not look like this. This is not our fault. Ed's done a great job. He went and got some stuff last minute to kind of throw this together, but there's internet down here and the system's down, so the normal beautiful presentation that comes down is not there. So that's why we have a bootleg set up with a tripod and an iPad, but applause to Ahmed for throwing it together. All right, take it away.
All right, so, good evening, everyone. So it's an honor to be here tonight to speak on behalf of the Fairfield Education Foundation. So I'm Cindy Halen, one of the Board of Trustees. But before we introduce this year's grant recipients, we just wanted to express a sincere gratitude from all of us to the Fairfield community and to the Board of Education for continued support so that we're always able to give back in the most meaningful way. So through the generosity of family donations, corporate matches, local fundraisers, and last year's Gatsby Gala, we've been able to give back over $55,000 in grants for the 2025-2026 school year, which is amazing. And these funds are directly supporting our students and teachers, creating opportunities for innovation and growth. We also just wanted to give a special thank you to the grant committee. We have a group of dedicated volunteers spending countless hours reviewing each application, making sure every dollar spent makes the greatest impact. So the 25-26 FEF grants are this year funding a variety of exciting initiatives. We have 7 more Promethean boards. We have 3 Clear Touch interactive boards for kindergarten, little free libraries at both schools. We have the first grade life cycle of a duck project, and STEM tools to support creativity at Churchill School. So we are so proud to support these initiatives and all the educators behind them, but we're really looking forward to most now our next year's cycle of grants. because we have, with our Derby Gala, even more money to give back to everyone. So at this time, we'd like to invite the recipients of the grants to come up and just briefly share what their project is and the impact it'll make on our students. Thank you guys again. Thank you.
I don't worry. You do it.
Hi, my name is Alexa Rubino. I teach reading, writing, and social studies at Churchill. The other 6 recipients were not able to attend, so I'm speaking on their behalf. So we were able to actually you guys were able to bring 7 Promethean boards into Churchill School. The boards help learning with touchscreen, and it's very interactive and hands-on. They were able to bring 2 to 3rd grade and 4 to 4th grade? 3 to 4th grade, sorry. It approximately helps 140 students, since the students switch classes for their different subjects. It allows lessons to come to life through visuals and manipulatives, using tools and videos with hands-on activities. It supports the students in better understanding what they're learning, building their confidence, and helps them with greater participation within the classroom because they want to come up and touch the board and play with the board. So I know from in my classroom, we use a lot for reading and writing, and for social studies, we highlight and underline like main ideas in the text and key details and understanding, diving into the text a little bit deeper. For social studies, we use the board to explore maps and play Jeopardy. We like to be the hosts when we are reviewing for different tests or reviewing different lessons that we have learned. So it's really meaningful, and it has shown a lot of growth for the students. They really are engaged and they want to be a part of the lesson even more than they were prior to having this. It also helps a lot with the students who might have like visual issues, because before we didn't really have a very clear picture. So now it helps them with all the other all around. So we just want to say from me and the other participants that we are very grateful, and the students love it, and thank you very much for supporting us.
Hello, my name is Katie Bagel. I'm the counselor at Stevenson School, and this is on behalf of myself and Mrs. Sarah Kirk over at Churchill. She couldn't be here tonight. We'd like to thank the Fairfield Education Foundation for their generous support. We're excited to bring the Little Free Libraries to our schools as an option for our students during recess. We also want to thank Mr. Bob, Mr. Carlo, and Mr. John for the time and care they put into building these beautiful libraries for our students. At Stevenson School, there will be 2, one for the kindergarten playground and one for our grades 1 and 2. At Churchill School, a library will be available for students in grades 3 through 6. During recess, students can choose a book to read on their own, read with a partner, or simply enjoy some quiet time with a book. This initiative helps encourage a love of reading by making books easily accessible in a relaxed, student-friendly setting. It also gives students a chance to connect with peers through shared reading. Just as importantly, it provides a meaningful option for students who may not want to participate in more active games like basketball or Foursquare, or who prefer a quieter activity. Students can read on a bench, at a table, or with a friend, creating a calm and welcoming space that supports different interests and needs. By offering this choice during recess, we're supporting students' social and emotional well-being, promoting positive use of free time, and helping build lifelong readers. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Jonalyn Tolanowski and I'm a member of the kindergarten team. I just want to make sure they're playing. Before I start, on behalf of myself and the kindergarten team, we want to thank the FEF for this wonderful grant. This year, the kindergarten team received 3 Clear Touch boards. These boards have been a huge asset to our classrooms thus far. As you can see by the photos above, these boards can be used in various ways. The Clear Touch boards can be used by one teacher or student, or even multiple. These boards can turn tabletop and be split into 2, 3, or 4 sections, and each section can be using a different learning tool. We have implemented these boards by using the whiteboard tool to build words and solve math equations. We have also used the Clear Touch boards to play language arts and math games to freshen up our skills and make learning fun. The best part about the Clear Touch boards in kindergarten classroom is the fact that they're on wheels. With it being on wheels, we can use it in any spot in our classroom. We can use it during phonics, math, centers, carpet time, and much more. We hope to get more in the future to enhance the learning experience in each kindergarten classroom. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dory Nazarian, and I teach STEAM at Stevenson, and I teach HEP at Churchill. And this grant that I'm so thankful for was actually for Churchill, but not to worry, because I have a really great idea about what I'm going to ask you guys for speakers next year. If I have the same position, which I'd really like, but that's another story. Let's talk about building creativity. So, I swear when I did it before, it was like big and bright. I don't know why it's so small now, but I'll read it. So 6th grade students use Squishy Circuits kits in conjunction with a lot of other electrical components that I had already in the classroom while we were working on our circuitry unit and our electronics unit. And these are just some pictures of what they did as we were going along. So you could see some of these projects are in the middle and they were doing different experiments. As you could see, some of the projects did not work in the first time, which is really what it's about, right? Doing the iterations and things like that. So if you see a light that's not quite on yet, or you see, those of you who do know circuitry and you're like, wait a minute, that wire isn't there. That's all part of the learning process. But you could see that they were able to make motors that turned. Over here, that is a siren that goes off, and obviously the LED lights speak for themselves. Again, I don't know what happened to the font, but okay. So the 5th grade students were also given 3 doodlers. So we are in the process of doing an experiment to prove the double bubble conjunction from Hutchins, Morgan's, I think it's Ritorre, if I'm saying that correctly, and Ross's conjecture. And they're studying optimal geometry, even though they don't realize it, and it's really fun for them. And you could see that these are all parts of the process of the experiment that we were using. So first they're learning how to use the tool. Then we go on and they research different types of bubble solution that we could make. Here's a picture of them creating the bubble solution. Here we're testing the bubble solution. And then they're using the 3 doodlers to make different types of wands to test for different variables of what we're looking for in the bubbles to try to get improve the double bubble conjecture. After we did these designated experiments, students got the opportunity to propose their own experiments, what they wanted to do in their own independent projects. These are some independent projects that they've been making, and you can see that they're all at different stages, but you could see the ones that were made with the squishy circuits and the ones that were made with the 3 doodler, and then the ones that were a combination of them. So this is just kind of a selection of them, and the students are just using their creativity and coming together, and it was just it's just so awesome to see what they can do. And this is a little thing that they just made for you. And with it. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you all.
Hi, I'm Laura Barra, Lauren and Major. We both teach 1st grade. This is Life Cycle of a Duck, and we're very excited. Very good.
We love ducklings.
The purpose of our grant was to enhance the science curriculum by providing first grade students with hands-on experience in the life cycle of a duck. But not only did our students enjoy this, families did thanks to our webcam.
So this grant financed the purchase of duck eggs from Quiver Farms, a webcam, a flexible desktop tripod, connection of the webcam to the Fairfield Public School website. We also purchased text for all the first grade classrooms. The 3 texts are listed there, and a collapsible small pool, because the ducks swim.
These are just some examples of the duck books that we got for each of the classrooms. We want to thank you for the money. The children appreciate it, we appreciate it, and I think the families do too. They all really loved it. We got responses.
So this is the incubator. So we each received 8 eggs that were in the incubator, my classroom and Ms. Major's classroom, and the hatching was live on the school website. And we think that this was one of the highlights of the project because from what we understand, people were waking up all hours of the night. Yes, we were as well.
Here comes the hatch.
We have a video. Can we play it?
Let it roll.
I got it.
Good job. Yay! Number 4. Good job. Yay! Come on, you can get out of your shell. It's like.
So the other thing that was amazing was that the children found out and realized at home that they could even rewind and they could re-watch the things that they really enjoyed to watch. That was another cool thing with the webcam.
Yeah, so the hatching occurred on February 9th and 10th from 11 a.m. to 6 a.m. the next morning. And we were in school for the majority of the hatchings, which was so cool.
And over there on the other side, that's the brooder box, and the children learned all this vocabulary.
And what was very fun about the ducks, if you've had any experience with the chicks in kindergarten, was in the morning, the first morning, we came in and the water was gone. And I'm like, how could they have drank all of this water in this container? But they realized that they could get wet. And they were soaking themselves all night long. And they were actually playing in the water all night. So it was really,
The pool was really good. The children also, there's a little picture of the pool. The children got to go around the brooder box and they got to touch the ducklings. They got to hold the ducklings. We actually put the ducklings out on paper. They got to observe and watch and see what they were doing, and they loved that. They held them and we took pictures. More pictures.
So then the culminating academic is we make a book. So this is just a quick example of one of the books, the completed books.
They even learned about vibration. And fun facts. We also. These are the results of our parent survey.
So we got a great response, and everyone did watch the webcam.
Which is why it was very important that you gave this to us and we truly appreciate it.
And what was so nice as well about the webcam when we wrote the grant, kindergarten then used the webcam for the chicks. So then it went to the next grade as well. So now it's really a Stevenson School webcam. So if there's another project or a life cycle, we can use it again in any of the classrooms.
We share.
Yeah.
Children totally watched from home and in school. These were just some of the responses from the families. We all really enjoyed it. We looked forward to it. I had little babies at home that were loving it. Parents were saying, oh my gosh, even my 2-year-old, my 4-year-old.
And the student survey results were very sweet as well. So we also conducted a student survey. And overall, of course, they loved it. They really did enjoy a hands-on experience. But our last question of the survey was, what other animals would you like seeing in your classroom? And it went from, like hamsters, bunnies, but then there was the ostrich, zebra, or monkey choices. And so you never know what's coming to first grade next.
We'll try for that. Personally, I like the giraffe. And that's it, we just wanna thank you so much.
Thank you so
We truly
much.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Alright, so I just want to say kudos, Mrs. Nazarian. That was a great pitch. I saw Ryan and John right now. Yeah, so it's good that you all like where you are and you want to be there. And to our FDF, all of you, we're so grateful that you continue to do the work that you do and raise the money that really affects the kids in so many ways. And just because Joe said we are financially in a good spot, it doesn't mean that you guys can stop. In fact, we're hoping that every year the number gets higher and higher, and obviously you have our support moving forward. So if there's anything you need from us, we're here, and really thank you, because it's an extraordinary amount of money that's going for a good cause. So thank you. Give them a big yeah.
Just nailed it.
It's okay.
You want us to come down?
Oh, yeah.
You guys.
I apologize that we're in jeans. I came from a softball game. I greatly apologize.
Oh, we're showing your bottoms.
I'm not doing anything.
He's so proud of you. We support you.
Why isn't Chris having fun?
She's setting it up.
Just
like-
Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna take a 1-minute intermission. For any of those that wanna leave for our budget presentation. Now, I can assure you that Wally promised to keep it around 15 minutes. So if you have 15 minutes and you really want some insight to our budget and how being fiscally responsible reflects, a good year, we really would appreciate that you stay. But we'll take, no pressure, and it's live on YouTube, so if you walk out, we're gonna see you. But we're gonna take 1 minute. If anyone would like to leave, please do so at this time. And if you have to go somewhere, totally understand. And if not, we'll proceed in about a minute.
Student has to go.
Can you believe the nerve of them? Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, Mr. Lindsley? Are we proceeding with our superintendent report of the budget presentation?
Mine's just quick, and we'll go ahead and present the budget presentation here. but it's on the agenda, but just so that everybody knows, we had 2 unused emergency days to get back. So like we did last year, one came off at the end of the school year. So the last day of school is now gonna be June 18th. And the other day is going to the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. So May 22nd now is going to be, we're gonna be off, and then that makes May 21st as the half day. So those are the 2 give back days, and I think Dr. Casarico sent it out already, but the graduation, and yes, I still will call it graduation for our 6th grade, is June 15th. June 15th, okay? All right, ready? All right. Budget presentation.
Alright, so welcome to the 26-27 budget presentation. I'll try to make it as informative as exciting as possible. And not keep everybody here too long. So the first thing I like to do is introduce the Board of Education members. You see them up here, but you don't really understand the amount of work that's involved. It's an elected position, it's fully volunteer. Within the board structure, there are separate committees that tackle the day-to-day operations with Ryan and I. The finance committee is a big part of that, and they're involved in the budget process from the beginning. As Anthony and Joe said, there's a lot of time involved. We speak weekly, if not sometimes daily, depending on what's going on. So they do put a lot of time in, and again, it's fully volunteer, so they deserve a lot of credit for that. It's a fully vested board, and the district is very lucky to have them because their interests and Brian and I's interests are aligned, and sometimes you don't have that with a board. And when you don't have boards working together with administration, it's not a good outcome for the district. So we work well together, and we're able to accomplish a lot of things in a short period of time. So I'll switch over the next 2 to Brian.
So just quickly, these have been our district goals since I became superintendent last year. And everything we do, everything we budget for is going to be tied into these goals. Fostering a positive culture climate, that's for students, that's for staff, that's for district-wide. And of course, wanting our kids to grow and achieve. Those are always going to be, we can change the objectives and how we reach those goals, but those will be our district goals going forward. The overall budget goal is to give the best possible experience to our kids. And as you can see, we do a great job in doing that. And then the FEF and HSA step in and provide even more above that. So the things you saw presented are things any school district typically would not budget for. We would not be able to provide those Promethean boards and the Clear Touch and the Ducklings, we wouldn't. So not only do we budget for providing experiences, but we're fortunate enough to have a very generous FEF that provides our kids even more experiences than what fits in our budget. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of these. Top priority is obviously safety and security of our students and staff. So you'll see things like improving our security cameras, repairing, replacing, if there's blind spots. That's just to keep our kids safe and secure, of course. I'm going to skip down to some of these. Some of the classroom technology, you don't see it a lot, but behind the scenes, we are spending a lot of money on classroom technology and classroom resources, whether it's document cameras, whether it's the CKLA program, updating math curriculum, new science curriculum. There's a lot of money being put toward educational factors. It's not the things you see on buildings and grounds on the outside. It's kind of the behind the scenes that we're spending a lot of our money on for the students and of course our staff. Programs, one of the few districts, and Mrs. Zarian can attest to this, we have a gifted talent program. A lot of school districts, that was the first thing cut. Sometimes they have a club, but we have a full-fledged gifted talent program. I'm very proud that we can keep that. Our program for autism, I mentioned this last year, very proud that our school district provides that. We have an amazing staff. If you haven't visited our MD rooms, they're just a phenomenal staff, and those kids just love it in there. It's something we're very, very proud of. So those types of programs go above and beyond what a typical district offers. I mentioned some of these things already. And I'll just jump down to the last piece, which is important, is maintaining class sizes. So one of the items we did budget for this is an additional section for 5th grade. If you're aware of how our sections are, all of our grades have 5 sections. We always had one grade that had only 4 teachers or 4 sections. So fortunate enough, while I did a great budget and allowed us to add that 5th section, that's just going to keep those class sizes down to a manageable amount for our teachers.
So into the budget, part of the presentation. So the first thing to look at when we're starting the budget, process are the costs that have the biggest dollar impact. So those are the first things we really have to worry about. So labor costs, we are currently going into a third year of a 4-year contract. Salaries are the biggest piece of the puzzle with the school district. We have about a $10 million salary, that goes out, and with a 3.75% increase, you know, that's a substantial amount of money that we have to account for. And it's contractual, you know, we can't run the building without the teachers and staff, so, there's no leeway in that. Health benefits costs, we have a 23% increase in healthcare premiums. That's a problem facing all the districts in the state. There's really nothing we could do about that. We're lucky we're in a different plan than the state plan. Our plan is 23%, the state plan this year is 32%, so we're at a 9% below the state. If we take a 3-year average, we're still 2% below the state plan. So we're in a very good program. Roughly our health benefits run close to $4 million. So between that and the salary, that eats up a majority of the budget. So there really isn't much left of the pie, so to speak. So because of this, the state provided relief via a healthcare adjustment to help districts out, so to help them from going into deficit. And I'll explain more about that as we progress through this presentation. When I found out early on in September that there's going to be a large healthcare increase, I contacted our healthcare broker, and we sat down and we talked about what are the options, are there better plans out there? What can we do? Unfortunately, we can't reduce the plan because we're contractually obligated to provide a level of coverage to our employees. So we can't just go to, you know, a lesser plan. Like we have to provide the same plan or equivalent. So after going back and forth with the broker, it was determined that, you know, we got the best plan that's out there. So much so that other municipalities and school districts are trying to get into the plan, but they're very selective. So we're very fortunate to be in that plan. And, you know, not to get off topic, but it's not always about dollars and cents. Like healthcare is very personal to different people. You know, you may go to a doctor once a year and it's not that important. You may have an underlying medical issue, or you're just comfortable with your doctor and the plan. So to change that, you know, would have to be a really big savings to the district. You know, while I have a financial obligation to do the best thing for the district, I have an obligation to do the best thing for the employees as well. So to change from one plan to another, to save a couple dollars, you know, it's not worth it. I'd rather find the money someplace else, keep everybody where they're at, and keep the plan that they're comfortable with. You know, because without the staff, there's just 4 walls. So, you know, you got to keep the staff happy. Special education, all costs with special ed are extremely high, and we have no option with that. It's dictated by an IEP, so we have to basically do what we're told with that. Out-of-district placements are very expensive, the costs that go with it, mandated programs, transportation, you know, we're really, like all other districts in the state, we don't really have an option for that. There's no reserves, there's no remedy for that. It's just a cost we have to absorb. Operation and maintenance, we have increased energy costs. Again, discussions with brokers and consultants, there is expected to be a 20% increase in energy costs. We combated that by upgrading the LED lights. We're putting in a boiler at Churchill last year. We qualified for another boiler installed at Stevenson, so higher efficiency would hopefully help reduce costs. Technology, schools have become very dependent on technology. All costs are high, constant upgrades are required. If you buy something today, tomorrow it's obsolete, so you've got to keep, you know, if you don't keep up with it, you know, you're really going to fall short, and the only people that are going to suffer are staff and students. So we try to maintain our district technology. So other ways we try to combat high costs are we use involved in different programs to help reduce things. Like, so we have district efficiencies. BMed is our insurance company. Again, like I said earlier, they provide historically lower rates with quality service. We are also part of cooperative purchasing services. They basically do the bidding for us. More importantly, they keep us compliant with purchasing laws so we don't have any violations. So sometimes it's not the, you know, the cost that we're looking at, it's to make sure that we're being compliant with all the state's purchasing laws. We have a federal rebate program that is technology reimbursement. We have energy brokers, we have insurance brokers. As I mentioned, we're taking part in anything that PSE&G offers as far as direct install programs. We have a shared service agreement with the town, which we are very fortunate to have a good relationship with the town. Their assistance is greatly appreciated, especially during winter months, maintaining the fields in the back. So it's a really good relationship to have. They maintain some of our equipment. So it's very good to have a shared service agreement. We also use a co-op for our transportation costs, which they do the bidding for us. They provide shared routes where we split costs with other districts, so the costs are really substantial savings when we're having the ability to do that. So the meat of the budget is what's it going to cost the taxpayer. So the proposed budget is a 7% increase in the general tax levy. Now, the tax levy is capped at 2% per statute, but the state does allow allowances for healthcare and enrollment adjustment. Because the healthcare costs increased so much this year, every district that I am aware of is trying to take that healthcare adjustment. It doesn't cover the full cost of the healthcare, but it does provide a little assistance for us. So it's a one-time allowable adjustment of $769,000. That again, it's a one-time increase to the tax levy. It doesn't recur every year. So the way the state came up with that is the state health benefits went up 32%. You're allowed a 2% tax levy cap. So they allow districts to raise up to 29.9% of their health care costs. So it's a calculation in the software based on last year's costs, and that's what gave us the $769,000 adjustment. This is a hypothetical comparison of the tax impact. So it's the cost of an average home, and the way that's calculated is by taking the net valuation of the $3.2 billion, dividing it by the eligible parcels in town. That gives you the cost of the average home. I know that may not be accurate to a lot of people in this room, but that's the calculation. Then it comes up with you take the taxable valuation divided by the net valuation, and that gives you the school tax rate, and which gives you the annual tax on an average home. Again, this is a comparison. It's not exact, and everybody will have a different.
Wally, what is the number at the bottom? Because we're having a tough time seeing.
That number at the bottom is the increase from the prior year. So
what dollar is
the actual
what's the
number?
actual 181?
So it's $15.15 a month. An increase if you break it down according to the calculation that's on the screen. So the
that
final
calculation is the total cost.
That will be the total cost
Yearly
for the year.
divided by 12.
Based on that assessed value, the average home value.
Okay.
So the final budget resolution, which is on tonight's agenda, will show you that the operating budget of $19 million is a special revenue, which is grant funds, which brings the total budget to $20 million. The tax levy portion of that for the previous slide was $16 million. So the rest of it is coming from other sources. The tentative budget was approved by the county office in April, and it will be presented tomorrow for approval. Tonight for approval at the meeting, and then it will be posted tomorrow. So revenue is what dictates the budget and drives the expenses. You can't spend more than you're given. So you basically get a pot of money that you have to make all your expenses fit into as you're trying to calculate this budget. So if you look at it, 84% is the local tax levy, and that pretty much drives the entire budget. We do get state aid. We had a 3% decrease this year, which roughly is $30,000. We had a 3% decrease last year, which is roughly $30,000. So both of those 2 years really comes up to like a staffing position that we lost, just because the state cut funding. The fund balance is a legal reserve that we're required to bring in. There's another fund balance that is of 105, which is anything in excess of what we're allowed to keep. Capital reserve is for projects, and it'll be discussed at a later slide. Tuition income, facility usage, and unrestricted miscellaneous income. And I increased that number because if you look on the agenda, we moved some money from our general operating account into a CD structure. So we're investing in CDs, 3-month clip, so every 3 months, a CD will mature. There's a $2 million CD, and I invested into 2 of those, and right now it's almost a 1% increase in interest rate. So it's basically we're getting money to do practically nothing. The money's in the account anyway, I just moved it to a different name. It's called, instead of a general account, it's a CD account. Every 3 months it'll rotate and mature. If we need it, we use it. If we don't need it, it just rolls into another 3-month CD, and our interest income should do a lot better, just again by doing almost nothing.
You have the number, Wally?
No, I have a calculation, and I don't have it on. Sorry, I dropped the ball. So again, this is the expense side of the budget, and we have to match the expenses to the revenue we're getting. And if you go back, we're only allowed a 2% cap plus a one-time adjustment, so it's 7% we're allowed to bring an increase to the tax levy. But if you go back to the earlier slide, we have a 3.75% increase in the salary. We have a 20% increase in the utility costs and a 23% increase in the health benefits. And it's a very simple concept. There's no black magic or like witchcraft in here. You're allowed to raise 7% when you have all of these costs that are exceeding the 7%. So the state doesn't give you extra funds for that. So what you have to do is find areas to cut and pull money from in order to not sacrifice too many services. So that's how you balance the budget when you're not given the funds to match what we really need. You have to pull from certain areas in order to make things work.
But that's also why we touched on earlier, we've had other ballot questions.
Yes. Yeah, and again, those are necessary to keep some of the service in, and as much as I don't like to raise the tax levy more than the 2%, the 700,000 for the health benefits just helps offset the cost, and the cost, again, it exceeds that 700,000, but that does help maintain a lot of the services that we have without having to pull from. So the budget is made up of general education, special education costs. Employee benefits are a very high number, and again, that's for health benefits. 3-point-something million is the health benefits. The rest are contractual or statutory, FICA and everything. We have support services, which comprise health, guidance, OT, PT, CST, and any extraordinary services. So that's a very high number. Operational maintenance of plant. That's just to keep the place operational and running. Administrative support services, that's the superintendent's office, principal's office, business office, and that has to do with salary and other expenses, and I'll touch on those other expenses a little later. Transportation is regular and special ed. Capital outlay, that's improvements that we're looking to make in the upcoming year, and I'll go into more detail on that. Out of district tuition, that's high because, again, we're dictated by IEPs, and you have to budget for the unknown. We may have kids moving to the district, we may have kids that now have an IEP that we have to send out of district. And those costs are astronomical, and there's no real recourse by the state to make things easier on school districts. So unfortunately, we have to foot that bill and sometimes sacrifice other areas of the budget. Food services, that is for the free and reduced population. So this is a graphic visual of, and it gives you a little more perspective on where the costs are. So salaries, 10 million, biggest piece of the pie. When you add in the benefits, there really isn't much left. That 5 million seems like a lot, but it's not. That represents, utilities, liability insurance, maintenance, and instructional supplies. And a lot of those expenses in that other are just expenses we need to open the building, like utilities and insurance. This also gives a breakout by major category, and these are cost centers that are determined by the Department of Education. So as you can see, student costs are a big piece of the pie, and I'll show the detail in the next few slides. But that's a good number. We have 10 million, and it's going into the students, so it's getting into the classrooms where it's needed. So that's good to see that number is a big piece of the puzzle. Facility cost is 3 million, but $1.6 million of that is for the projects we're planning on doing. The other $1.6 million is just the maintenance and operations to again open the doors of the building. Admin employee benefits of 5 million. 4.2 of that is for the health benefits and the statutory requirements we have to have. The rest are superintendent's business office, salary, other costs, which include legal, audit, communication, platforms such as Frontline and Genesis, and accounting software. So again, that looks like a big number, but there's a lot that goes into that. It's not just salaries. This is the numerical portion of the slide. So this breaks out in how we came up with the 10 million in student costs. And again, it's pretty self-explanatory, instruction, charter schools, tuition, student services. So that makes up that 10 million on the previous slide. Admin and benefits, again, this shows that 4.2 million of that number is related to benefits that we really don't have much control over. The rest of that is, again, for administration, which again includes legal, audit, platforms, communications, telephone services, and whatnot. Capital expenses, as I said, 1.6 is due just to open the building for custodial maintenance costs, and the other portion of it is for projects that we're looking to do this summer in the districts. And I'll cover that, the actual projects in the next slide. So this is what we're planning on coming up this summer. So the total facility project, the actual construction costs are budgeted at 1.6 million. And what that's going to entail is Churchill recreation improvements. The playground there is outdated, unsafe, and really needs an upgrade. We did renovations last year at Stevenson, and it's been, the playground's been utilized a lot more, and it's a really positive response. So in order to keep things balanced, we applied for a grant through the local recreation grant, and they gave us a $66,000 award. So we're gonna apply that to the recreation improvements, and we're looking to upgrade the whole play area this summer, so hopefully that goes. And you can see on the agenda, one of the vendors we picked out is for the playground equipment. We're also looking for media center improvements, and that's to add an additional classroom. As Ryan said earlier, we have another 5th grade section, so in order to accommodate that, we're trying to find a location for that. So one of the thoughts was to do something in the media center, not permanent, only because we're gonna have a referendum, so we're gonna try to do something economical to make that work in the meantime, just to accommodate that classroom. Stevenson, we qualified for a PSE&G direct install program. The initial cost was $642,000. The district's responsibility is $248,000. So we have a savings of almost $400,000 by going through this program. It's a little bit of work by all staff, on the maintenance side, and Ryan, myself, and the board, because they're involved in a lot of the discussions. But for $400,000, I think it was worth the effort. We had a positive result at Churchill with that this year, so I applied this year and we were qualified. The reason the number is so high, 750, when we're only going to be really responsible for 248, is because I just found out recently that we received the award. So I budgeted a full amount of the potential project, and we received the award. I didn't want to go in and change the budget. Any unused money just rolls right back into the reserves, so it's not lost. So that's why I didn't find out changing that number. The drinking water improvements are to replace all the old water fountains in the district with filtered bottle fillers. They've been around forever, and they're not the greatest. So I thought about replacing those. I wrote a grant. I'm waiting for the response, so I don't know what the award's going to be. It may take for everything, it may not, but regardless, we're going to move forward with replacing that with those items. The fees below, professional fees, those are if needed, if we need to use a project manager or an architect or any kind of legal fees to review a contract, we have to budget some costs in for that. And all of that money will be withdrawn from capital reserve. If it's not used, again, it goes right back into reserve for a future project. And again, facilities are the top priority. They seem to have been neglected over the years. So if you look around, we're talking about painting the district. We're replacing a lot of the doors this past week. Things do take time. I wish I could move things along a lot quicker. And it's frustrating not to be able to, but there's a lot of red tape and there's a lot of things that have to be analyzed before you can just start diving into projects. That's pretty much it.
What an outstanding presentation. Outstanding. Very informative.
Thank you, Wally. Obviously, everything is board driven, and Wally and Joe do a really good job. I sit on finance, and more often than not, I just kind of listen because it makes the most sense. But, you know, the reason why we wanted those that are here to sit through is because if you see every increase is greater than the 2% or the 7% the state allows. Whether it's 23%, 30%, 37%, 32%, but simple math is simple math. So the CDs at 1%, we quickly tallied, just that decision alone makes the district an additional $160,000 a year, right? PSE&G, $400,000. Recreation grant last year, $88,000. Recreation grant this year, $66,000. So every decision that's being made is truly in the best interest of the district, which is allowing us to be, you know, where we are right now, which is fiscally responsible. And, you know, obviously,
We're able to be more aggressive because of that
Yeah.
too. Like, we're doing things that maybe should have been done already, maybe they shouldn't have been, whoever's opinion you get, but we're getting money from the state and we're saving money each year by not spending every dollar. We can do a lot more for this district.
Yeah.
And we're in a good spot, again, because of the support and those two ballot questions especially. You know, making some hard decisions is great up here, but the support, you know, nobody wants to increase taxes every year, we don't do that. But for now, it's been every other, and we'll, you know, the next one will be the referendum. And we have some state mandates coming up in 2030, which is gonna cost every district some money. But there's a lot of districts in the state, if you read the news, I wouldn't wanna be on the boards of those, that's for sure. So hopefully we just keep this, keep the train moving here and, stay in a strong spot.
thank you guys, honestly, for,
Thank
you
you
know,
all.
for doing
Great
such a great job, we really appreciate it. With that being said, Mr. Hoop, do you have anything else? Wally, great job. We're gonna blow through the agenda. Yeah, but if no one wants to stay for the agenda items, we'll give you another 30 seconds to leave, but listen, you're in it now, so you might as well just stay, okay?
It's not that bad.
At this time, we're gonna open up the floor for public comments on agenda items only. Anyone, public comments on agenda items only? Seeing no one, we're gonna close that portion of the meeting and move on.
The following finance motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 12, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll.
Mr. Feedy,
Yes.
Ms. Street,
Yes.
Ms. Altai,
Yes.
and Mr. DePesco.
Yes.
The following administrative motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 2, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll.
Mr. Feedy,
Yes.
Ms. Street,
Yes.
Ms. Altai,
Yes.
Mr. DePesco.
Yes.
The following contract motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 2, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Feedy,
Yes.
Ms. Street,
Yes.
Ms. Altai,
Yes.
Mr. DePesco.
Yes.
The following grant motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 4, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Feedy,
Yes.
Ms. Street,
Yes.
Ms. Altai,
Yes.
and Mr. DePesco.
Yes.
The following buildings and grounds motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, item 1, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Feedy,
Yes.
Ms. Street,
Yes.
Ms. Altai,
Yes.
and Mr. DePesco.
Yes.
The following personnel motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. I just want to note, we have an addendum to this, so we will be voting on items 1 through 7. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 7, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Feedy,
Yes.
Ms. Street,
Yes.
Ms. Altai,
Yes.
Mr. DePesco.
Yes.
Do you guys have the addendum?
The public have the addendum, or we just?
Yeah, we both-
It's online.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought you meant hard copies.
Probably should ask that before. Wait now.
The following curriculum program motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. There's also an addendum to this one, so we'll be voting on items 1 through 4. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 4, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
We have a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Ms. Street?
Yes.
Ms. Alstad?
Yes.
Mr. Lukascio?
Yes.
The following policy motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 2, will be voted on in one motion. I so move.
We have a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Ms. Street?
Yes.
Ms. Alstad?
Yes.
Mr. Lukascio?
Yes. All right, thank you for that. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comments, non-agenda items. Anyone? I see Frank.
Sorry, I'm gonna ask, I know, nobody wants to listen to me because it's the end of the night.
We missed you. Welcome back, Frank.
I've watched, I'm just not here. Frank Lamore, Force. Wait, it's just about-
Yeah, it's
Frank
green.
Lamore,
Is it green?
no. Sorry. Frank Lamore, Force, Susie Lee. The shortage of aides, I've been hearing about that, they can't find qualified candidates. Can we like do some kind of like, can somebody send out maybe like a link to what the job description looks like? So we can tell some people about it, cause I would just blast it out to like as many people as I know. Yeah, we have it on our website, it's on our Facebook page, we could blast it out to families. Could you send it out like that, they send this whole school the email, like, if you know anybody, tonight, we can. Absolutely. Okay, and, they're budgeted for, we're just waiting for. And I know it's like special ed's the big thing, are we getting kindergarten aides back for next year too? We will always, we budgeted, and it was a valid question also for kindergarten aides, right? What people have to understand is, anytime there's gonna be an IEP where it requires an aide, if you have a kindergarten aide, that person's gonna move over. Hopefully, we get enough where we have all the special aides we need, and we can keep those kindergarten aides in those classes. But, all right, and do we know when do we know what the enrollment is for next year? Like the numbers that are in here for like right now, when do we start to know? We have a pretty good idea of what it's gonna be, going up, going down, or? In some grades it's going up, but, the incoming kindergarten is a big class. We're over 100 for kindergarten, so, yes. All right, great time to have this kindergarten. Exactly. Yeah, blast it out, we'll share it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comments? Non-agenda items only? Seeing no one, we're gonna close that portion of the meeting. Next meeting, be it resolved that the next meeting will be held in person on May 20th, 2026. Public work session beginning at 6 p.m. followed by executive session with public session resuming at approximately 7:30 p.m. at the Fairfield Municipal Building. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call? All aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you.